We've been living in Australia long enough now to experience the real culture shocks, and some of these genuinely surprised us, even after all our research before moving from the UK.
Today we're sharing 10 culture shocks that caught us both off guard, some more than others. Number 8 hits us the hardest.
Let's get into it. You don't realise how good the UK supermarkets are until you move to Australia. You've got Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, Morrisons, Waitrose, Aldi, Lidl, Iceland, Co-op, and of course Marks and Spencer's Food Hall, which was always a treat. We were spoilt for choice, especially when it came to ready-made meals. Fresh, frozen, gluten-free, whatever you want. But in Australia, supermarkets have no shopping appeal. It's get in, buy your groceries and get out. There isn't a demand for ready-made meals, as the Aussie way of dining is totally different. And another thing we miss being able to buy is beer and wine in the same shop. You just grab a bottle of wine with your groceries. In Australia, you have to go to a separate bottle shop. The fresh food here is amazing, so we do love that side of it. In Australia, two main supermarkets called Coles and Woolworths. So one of the things we always do when we visit the UK is we go to the nearest large supermarket chain. It is a nostalgic trip, wandering the aisles, picking up all the things we miss. Oh, I do miss my Marks and Spencer's.
If there's one food we desperately miss from the UK, it's British Indian restaurant food. It's famous all over the world. It's creamy, luscious, sweet, fragranty. It's just unctuous heaven on a plate. Indian food in Australia is good, but it's just not the same as British Indian restaurant food. Even my brother in Germany agrees, it's just not the same there either. It actually developed in the UK mainly thanks to Bangladeshi chefs who adapted Indian, Pakistani and Bangladeshi dishes to suit British tastes. So one of the first things we do when we go back to the UK is go straight to a local Indian restaurant.
Another thing we really miss about the UK is how easy it was just to hop in the car and go somewhere different for the weekend. You could leave work on a Friday, drive an hour and be somewhere completely different. Maybe a little village with a cosy B&B, a seaside town, or in the countryside with a nice pub and a roaring fire. But in Australia, flying would be a better option, as driving just doesn't get you far enough, fast enough. Australia has some incredible places, but sometimes we do miss those easy weekend getaways in the UK.
Pack your bags, London.
I have to admit, I miss London. I used to live just an hour south in Kent and I'd visit the city all the time. There's something magical about the Thames and taking a boat trip. The parks are green oases in the midst of the city. Shopping in London is unmatched, from high street stores to luxury shopping in Harrods, or wandering through Covent Garden or Carnaby Street. The theatre scene, nothing beats a night in the West End. The fact you can walk into world-class places like the British Museum and the National Gallery completely for free is incredible. The Tube is a London institution and makes getting around so easy, but it's great to see the Metro in Sydney now though. London is a mix of history and modernity, old landmarks standing alongside places like the Gherkin and the Shard. Living in Australia is amazing, but there will always be a part of me that misses London.
Something else we really miss about living in the UK is how easy it was to hop on a plane or a train and be in another country in just a few hours. You could wake up in London, jump on the Eurostar and be in Paris for lunch, or take a short flight and be in Spain, Italy or Greece before dinner. It was that easy. We absolutely loved visiting France. One of our favourite trips was to Annecy. This beautiful town is situated by a lake with mountains all around, like a picture postcard come to life. We also visited Lewis's brother a few times in beautiful Munich. We found flying reasonably priced, so it felt like travel was always within reach. But in Australia, airfares are generally much higher too. There aren't as many budget airline options, but we do miss the days when we could just grab our passports, book a cheap flight and be exploring a whole new country.
Hop on the plane, feel the rush. London's fog,
In the UK, music isn't just something you listen to, it's part of the culture. Movements like Britpop, punk and New Romantics weren't just about music, they shaped fashion, attitudes and whole generations. Everyone knew the latest bands, who was number one in the charts. It was just part of everyday life. Australia is always producing some amazing artists and music like the Easy Beats, AC/DC, In Excess, Powderfinger, Jet, Kylie. There are great artists for sure, but there isn't that same general interest. It doesn't feel like a movement the way it does in the UK. Back home, pop culture and music are completely intertwined.
British streets alive with sound. Christmas tree.
Christmas in Australia is always special, beaches, Barbies and sunshine. But if you grew up in the UK, you can't help but miss a cold Christmas. There's something unique about a winter Christmas, wrapping up in scarves and gloves, the crisp air and that cosy feeling of walking into a warm pub with a roaring fire. But one of the biggest things we miss isn't just the weather, it's the timing of the holidays. In Australia, Christmas and the summer holiday happen at the same time. But in the UK, summer was 6 months before Christmas, so you always had another big break to look forward to. In Australia, once Easter is over, it's a long, long wait until Christmas. There's no big holiday break in between. Back in the UK, summer and Christmas were nicely spread out, but here it can feel like you're missing a holiday somehow. Christmas in the sun definitely has its perks, but there's just something about a cozy cold Christmas, warm jumpers, mulled wine and watching the snow fall outside while you're tucked up inside.
Fairy tale we spun through the screen.
One of the biggest things we miss about living in the UK is family and friends. It's inevitable that when you move to the other side of the world, you'll lose touch with some people. But we've stayed close to our family and good friends. But as great as video calls are, they're just not the same as seeing people face to face or getting a hug or a bosie. We've been so lucky to have friends and family visit us, which has been amazing. When we first came to Australia, we'd be travelling back to the UK every 2 to 3 years, but that wasn't sustainable, so the visits got less frequent. We twice met up with a good friend in different continents, once in Asia and the other in the USA. That was such fun and a great way to combine a reunion with a holiday. The last time I saw my brother and my dad was 5 years ago. I flew home and came back with them as they couldn't travel by themselves. We had the best 10 weeks in Australia and that memory will stay with me. So much has changed in the past 5 years. Their health isn't so good, so they wouldn't manage a long haul flight now. The worst thing is when someone back home gets sick or when they pass away and you're thousands of miles away. That's when it really hits hard.
Through the screen. Reality show.
One thing we didn't expect when moving to Australia was how much we miss UK TV. In the UK, you've got the BBC and ITV producing loads of quality shows, gripping dramas, brilliant comedies and those big budget nature documentaries. But here in Australia, it's a lot of reality TV. We actually stopped watching free-to-air TV in Australia about 5 years ago. Now we just stick to Netflix, YouTube and sometimes Britpop.
Ain't no way we're staying.
Oh, how I miss. One thing I really miss about the UK is the mountains and my beloved hill walking. I used to hill walk in the Scottish Highlands. We'd be out from morning to dusk every second weekend. When I met Lewis, I introduced him to fell walking, and whenever we could, we set off to the Lake District. By the time we got our visa for Australia, we'd climbed all the popular hilltops. We loved it so much, we were married close to Windermere, and every trip home would include a stay in Grasmere. I am lucky as I equally love the beach to the hills. We'll keep exploring Australia's coastlines and appreciate what we have.
Oh, how I miss those ancient lands.
So those are the culture shocks that caught us off guard in Australia. Some things we genuinely miss from the UK and others we absolutely love about living here. That's just the reality of emigrating. But Australia has become home, and we wouldn't change that for anything. If you want to see what made us fall in love with this beautiful country, check out our video on the 12.5 reasons why we love Australia. Link in the description and in the card above. We so love making these videos for you, and we hope you enjoy watching them too. Thank you for watching Lewis and Bonnie's Australia.